we'll just start with breathing. So same as always, if you want to put your hands on your belly, feel free. And then just to start the practice, taking 6 breaths out through the mouth or the nose. Nice, and we can begin. So just taking the awareness to the tailbone, and then we'll just follow that one energetic channel up all the way up the back of the body, over the head to the top of the mouth, and then down the front of the body and round under. So taking the attention to the tip of the tailbone, and then preparing, and we begin breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the top of the mouth, and then breathing out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, up the spine, up each vertebrae, up the back of the neck, over the head and to the roof of the mouth, and then breathing out, down the chin, the throat, the front of the body, and down all the way under, back to the coccyx. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the top of the mouth, and then breathing out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, up the back of the body, lengthening the back of the neck, the top of the head, going all the way down the face to the roof of the mouth, and then breathing out, down the front of the body, like water flowing over, all the way down under the body and back to the coccyx. Breathing in, and breathing out. Breathing in, last breath, taking the awareness, guiding it and listening to the top of the mouth, and then breathing out, all the way down the front of the body, down under and back to the coccyx. And then just breathing normally. Hi Hazel. Hi Holly. Nice to see you guys. We're just doing some breathing. So for the next one, we'll just take our awareness to our center, so just below the belly button, in between our belly button and the spine. And then we'll, as we breathe in, we'll just take the awareness up from that point, up the inside of the body, all the way up to just over the top of the head, and then circle back round as we breathe out, back to that space, and then back. So when you're ready, taking the focus to the center, And then breathing in for 1, 2, taking the awareness up, 4, 5, 6, and then circling round, breathing out, 2, 4, 5, 6, breathing all the air out of the lungs, breathing in from the center, taking the awareness up the middle of the body, all the way up to the top of the head, taking a really deep breath and then breathing out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, breathing all the air out, breathing in, up all the way to the top, and then breathing out, all the way to the center, breathing in, taking the awareness up, guiding and listening, taking a really deep breath and then breathing out, all the way back down to the center, breathing in, all the way up, taking a deep breath and breathing out, breathing all the air out of the lungs. And last breath, breathing in, taking the awareness up the inside and middle of the body, and then breathing out, taking it down, back to the center, and breathing normally. And when you're ready, you can come up to standing. So we're just gonna do a little bit of shaking, so a little bit of listening, and then what we'll do is a little bit of expansion and contraction. We'll do a little bit more of the sequence of the structure, and then we'll be going into the elastic force, the next one. Thank you, Hazel. Just getting nice and loose, relaxing the shoulders. So letting the arms and you can just take your awareness to, you can imagine if there's a line going from the very top of the head and just pulling slightly up. And then if you imagine that line continuing down the body all the way down into the ground, and how the body rotates around. And then we can take it further up. and up again, so pushing from the ground. And then we can give our shoulders a little shake, and then shake out our legs. Great. And this time, so we're going to do a bit of expansion and contraction. And this time, you can imagine from the center the force or the energy going out to the periphery of the body as we expand, and as we contract, the force or the energy going from the periphery of the body. So the periphery of the body is really our hands, our fingers, and our toes, coming back to the center as we contract. So taking a second to think of our three arches. So the arch of the legs, relaxing our hip points, and then we can tuck under, and then we can take our arch of the arms, and when you're ready you can begin. So expanding and contracting. So the air goes in, into the belly button, and we blow out like a balloon, and then you can add the visualization of the force coming from the center to the periphery, and then back. And at the same time as kind of guiding the body and guiding the movement, you can listen to what's happening inside the body. So just becoming aware of the sensations. And then we can change, so just changing from the expansion and then contraction coming down. So we expand and contract. Expanding the body and contracting. And just going at whatever pace feels right, just keeping the body nice and soft. And then just changing again. So expanding and contracting. Nice work. And then we'll just take it in. So we'll just do the sequence, or the part of the sequence that we've done a couple of times. So just think of the figures of 8, and then after we'll think of expansion and contraction. So for this one we'll think of the figures of 8. So we have our horizontal figures of 8 and our vertical figures of 8. So beginning with the legs together, we expand and contract, and then we have our first figure of 8, our diagonal, and then our circle. Our next diagonal, circle, and diagonal. And then we have our circle, then the diagonal shifting the weight, the circle, stepping forward, we have the diagonal shifting forward, and then a circle coming round, and the second diagonal shifting the weight forward. So we'll just do it from behind. So don't worry about learning this sequence. This is just to really start paying attention to all the elements of how we're moving, how the structure moves in space. So we'll do it together. Expanding and contracting. So our first diagonal goes to the left, and then our circle. Then we have our diagonal going towards the right, and our circle as we step. The diagonal shifts the way, circle, diagonal, circle. We have our diagonal, circle, and diagonal. So is it clear what I mean by diagonal and circle? So our figures of 8 here, so if we're doing this plane, our figures of 8, we have the diagonal and then the circle coming down, and the diagonal and circle coming down. Is it clear? Yes? Amazing. Okay, so we'll just do it one more time, and this time we'll just focus on the expansion and contraction, and then we'll do it together again. So second last time now, focusing on the expansion and contraction, and then we'll do it one last time. So just beginning, and we expand and contract, expand, contract, expand, contract, expand, contract, expanding out, contracting, and expanding, shifting the weight. Contracting, we sink, and expanding, shifting the weight. So as we expand, the weight shifts from one leg to the next, and as we contract, the weight sinks down into the ground. So last time together. We expand and contract. Expanding, contracting, circle. Expanding, shifting the weight. Circle, sinking, expanding, shifting the weight. Expand, contract, and we expand forward. We contract down, and then expand forward. So this is really to take all of our attention on the figures of 8 and the expansion and contraction. The figures of 8 is really about moving from the centre, and the expansion and contraction is the mother of the movement. So the expansion and contraction is relative to each other, and it's really one of the most important things in the Tai Chi. So nice work. So now we're gonna go on to the sequence of the tendons. But before we do that, does anyone have any questions about that first part of the sequence? No questions? Okay, good. Nice. So when you're ready, you can just take your legs around hip width apart, and then just the feet facing forward, and then the visualization is from the heel all the way to the fingertip. There's an elastic band that we're just stretching and then releasing. So for the elastic band, we want it to be nice and stretched, but not stretched so much that it becomes rigid. And I don't think you can see, but as we come up with the hand, our heel comes up on that same side, and as we come down, our toe comes down. And we're just pointing our index finger up. So really visualizing the elastic band from the heel, stretching all the way up, and then letting it become loose. So it's just in a circle. So we're here. So as we come up and stretch, we just stretch that whole side. And then we take it to the other side. So taking it the other way around, sorry, so on the same side, just stretching that whole side like an elastic band. So we want it to be nice and tight but not rigid, and then we'll just take it to the other side. And you can look up to the fingertip. Using the visualization to let the body be nice and soft. So you can rest the other hand on the chest if that feels good, and then just stretching this whole side. So imagining an elastic band just from the heel all the way to the fingertip, and taking it round in a circle. And then we can take it to the other side. Sorry, take it the other direction. Stretching that whole side. Nice work, you guys. And then again, we just imagine our body like an elastic band, and we just interlace the fingers, taking them out in front and then up above the head. And we just look at that, and like an elastic band, we just twist one way and the other. So again, here just not using very much force, just like an elastic band, twisting one way and the other. And then we can squeeze the fingers tightly together, squeeze them all the way until they come apart. Nice. And then what we'll do is, so one arm twists upwards, so we have our hand kind of like we're holding a ball, a really big ball, and one hand comes above the head and the other behind us, and we just look at that arm behind us there. And then we take the hands so that they're facing each other, and then they come closer together and switch. So, and again, we just stretch the arms in opposite directions, visualizing the elastic band, not wanting it to be too tight so that it becomes rigid. Just stretching in opposite direction and keeping the movement nice and fluid, nice and gentle. So from here, we just take the hands so that they face each other, and then as if they're going to come and clasp each other, but then they just miss each other, and we're kind of twisting the other way. Stretching in opposite directions. And then from here, we take the arms out, and if we have the hands facing up, one shoulder turns inwards so that the hand goes from facing down to facing up again, just twisting inward, so twisting in and in. And then we just look at the hand where the shoulder isn't twisted in. So, and again, we just stretch the arms in opposite directions and then switch, twisting the other shoulder in and switching, and just switch in whatever pace feels good. Nice, and we can take it in and down, and from here we can take the arms back, just opening the chest. There's a lot of nerves in the chest, and just opening, taking the arms round, and then our backs of the hands come together. We bend the elbows in, twisting the hands in so that we come into prayer, and then taking it all the way down. So taking it out, and then here we can arch the back, stretch the back, taking it in, coming into prayer, and then releasing down. So keeping the movement nice and continuous. Taking it out all the way, then in, stretching the back, and the backs of the hands come together. We come in, taking it into our chest, twisting, and then the hands, the palms come to face and down. Nice job, everyone. So, taking it in. So first stretching the chest, then stretching the upper back. And even here we can feel expansions, contractions, expanding, contracting. And just opening, gently opening the body. So our arms coming out, our palms face forward, and then our palms face outwards, the palms still face out, and then we just fold the hand in and down. And then we can take the arms up, take it up, and then coming out at 45 degrees, and the hands come down and twist round, and then coming all the way out as if we're pressing a wall, coming behind us, and then down as if we're pressing on the floor, and then releasing. So taking it up 45 degrees, our palms come down and round. Waking up all the tendons in the hands. Coming round. And pressing down and releasing. And then last one. Nice. And we'll just take it in and down, and then we can take one foot out, so our toes, one facing out to the side, and then we can just walk our hands, walk our fingers gently down the leg. So wherever it feels good, if we just want to stay here, or if we want to walk the hands all the way down to the feet. And you can relax the back of the neck. And then walking back up the inside of the leg, you can take the feet parallel and take the fingers, taking the toes out on the other side, and just gently walking down. So walking it to wherever feels comfortable. And then we can take it back up that inside of the leg. And then last time on this side, taking that same side again. On one side, and then walking up, nice and gently, taking the feet parallel, and then taking it to the other side. Great, and then we can walk it all the way back up. And now we can take the arms in and just holding the elbow without resisting and without holding back. We can just pivot at the hips and just let our upper body come down, relaxing the back of the neck. And from the ground, just feeling the soles of the feet on the ground, you can imagine, visualize water, a spring coming up from the feet, from the place in the ground where the feet is, building up all the way up the legs, and then as it gets to the hips, just flowing down the upper body. So using that visualization of coming up, over, and then flowing down. And you can sway front to back, so just taking the weight to the front of the foot and then the back of the foot, and just swaying front and back. And then swaying from side to side, so swaying from the left, taking more weight onto the left side, and then onto the right. And then we can take it round in a circle. First one way, and then the other way. And then you can release the arms. If the hands don't touch the floor, that's no problem. You can do the same, just having the hands above the floor, but if they do touch the floor, or if they don't, we'll just walk our fingers out in front of us to as far as they go, and then back round to our feet. So walking out in front and then round, if that makes sense. So we'll just walk the fingers out as far as they go, and then they just come round the outside back to between our feet. Walking out and round, out and round. And last time walking out and round. And taking the elbows again, we can bend the knees, taking care as we come up. We press the hips forward and come back. Before we come straight. Nice work. And then taking the other elbow, so taking it on the other side than before, we just come back down. So without any resistance and without pressing, releasing the neck. And then we can take the hands on to the feet, so each on each side, just taking the top of the foot where the ball of the foot is. And then at the same time as lifting just the front of the foot, keeping the heel on the ground. So, I don't know if you can see. Keeping the heel on the ground, we just lift the front of the foot, so lifting the toes up, and at the same time, we just lift the shoulder of that side. So, taking it up on one side, lifting the shoulder on that same side, and then lifting on the other side, taking the shoulder that same side up. And just doing that, alternating from one side to the next. And then when you're ready, taking the elbows, bending the knees generously, taking the hips forward and then pressing upwards. And then coming forward. Nice work. And then we'll just shake out. So keeping the arms nice and loose. Taking a nice deep breath in. And then exhaling it out completely. And taking it up. And up again. And then we can shake out the feet. So nice and gently. Also bringing it up if it feels good. And then taking it round. to the side. And to the back. And then we can stretch the toes, stretch the soles of the feet. And then taking the heel down, and then tracing the line from the heel and letting the shoulder come forward. The other arm takes round the elbow and then we twist. And then we come to the other side. Coming round. Next, and then we can close. Nice work, everyone. So the first part was the sequence of the structure. So we're in this sequence, we can really take all our attention to the things that we've studied. So our figures of 8, our expansion and contraction, our 3 arches, so that we're moving our structure in space with our centre, and that our structure breathes, is alive, expands and contracts. And then we started the force, the elastic force. So the elastic force is all about opening the body so that we can have a structure which can expand and contract, which can breathe and is nice and nimble. So if you have any questions or comments, they're welcome.
So when we've started doing the elasticity and that, whilst you're doing that, do you still want to be thinking about your structure and incorporating that?
And no, not so much. So we're at this point we're kind of, I guess, breaking the structure and lengthening the structure. So there wouldn't really be any movements in the Tai Chi form and in Tai Chi where our arms are just stretched out and our whole body's kind of stretched in that way. Usually it would always be relatively more rounded, etc. The arches and things. So we're kind of opening the structure up to kind of widen the range and then kind of bringing it back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
How does it feel, the tendons? That one's called the tendons qigong. Tendons qigong.
Personally, you should come back on and finish what you were saying, Halls. I was just going to say. No, are you finished, Holly? You finished what you were saying? I think you were a bit slow there. You froze a bit. I don't know if it was the same for everyone, but it was for me. I was just going to say that I really enjoyed it.
Quite good. Yeah, it's very stretchy and opening.
Yeah. Mum said she felt her tendons.
First time, long time I felt my tendons.
Wow, that's advanced. advanced sensing. Yeah, amazing. Hazel, I also didn't catch what you said. I think you kind of froze as you were speaking.
My Wi-Fi might not be great. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to. Sorry, I just wanted to thank you. I really needed that today. I needed that stretch. It felt wonderful just to get that tendon, especially the hands, all that stuff with the hands, and stretching and opening the chest. That was great. And I got a few good clunks of the spine on the bending down, which I do enjoy. So thank you. Timing.
Thank you.
I did want to ask, actually, when the bending and the walking of the fingers and that, are you keeping your legs straight, like sort of Trikonasana style, or are you softening?
A little bit softening. So you want to feel the stretch in the back, but what you mostly want to avoid is some people have very flexible joints, and it kind of the knee locks back. So
yeah.
I
did a sort of Trikonasana masterclass a while ago that was talking about that, and the thing to do is just really tense the thigh and use the upper leg strength to hold it. But I was wondering, if I should be doing all that and holding it.
Yeah, so that's one way. If you feel quite flexible already, you can, and you feel confident that your leg is straight rather than kind of bending backwards, having that backwards bow, then you can tense the thighs as well. But otherwise, you can also bend the knees, and it depends day to day as well how you're feeling. So yeah, it's a good question. Amazing. So we can do a quick breathing just to kind of get into that expansion and contraction again. So similar to the beginning, when we expand, the force and the energy goes from the center. So the center is where all of the energy is collected, and then when we move from the center, it kind of goes through the energetic channels out into the body, is the Taoist theory. So and so we can imagine our center, and then as we expand, we can imagine the energy or force going from the center of the body to the periphery, and then as we contract back to the center. So, and the breathing is, when we expand, we're breathing out, and when we contract, we're breathing in. So kind of, for a lot of people, counterintuitive at the beginning. But you can just imagine following the breath out is expansion, and then as you breathe in, contraction back. Amazing. So when you're ready, and feel free to close the eyes as well if you feel comfortable. And then you can take a couple of breaths just focusing in on the center. And then breathing out, focusing on the center, breathing all the air out of the lungs. And breathing in. And as we breathe in, we can focus our attention right into the center. And breathing out, our attention goes outwards from the center to the periphery. Breathing in, coming back to the center. Breathing out, our awareness comes out towards the periphery of the body. Breathing in, our awareness comes back to the center. Breathing out to the periphery. Breathing in to the center. Breathing out. Our awareness might expand slightly beyond the periphery of the body. And as we breathe in, it comes back to the center. Breathing out. Our awareness goes out slightly more beyond our body, breathing all the air out and breathing in. Our awareness traveling back to the center. Breathing out. Letting the awareness expand in all directions equally. Breathing in. To the center and then breathing out. Taking up more space in the room. Breathing in. And breathing out. Expanding our awareness out towards the walls, the corners of the room. Breathing in to the center, visualizing our center. Breathing out, taking up the whole room. Breathing in, to the center. Breathing out. Breathing in, coming back to the center. And breathing out, making contact with the walls of the room, the floor, the ceiling. Breathing in to the center. Breathing out. To the periphery. Last 2 breaths. Breathing in, taking up lots of space, lots of air, coming in towards the centers. We're breathing in, visualizing the center, and then breathing out. Expanding Breathing in, we contract to the center, and breathing out. Expanding. And then we can breathe normally